time I used that word, all my academic friends subsided into giggles beside me. We've seen that word written down, but we've never actually heard anybody utter it. I'm very grateful to Wake Forest University Press for giving me a sort of a toehold in North America. I'm very happy with the job they did on that particular book. I'm going to begin with, it's a quotation from a review that an English poet and critic wrote of a book by Paul Muldoon. And what the critic said was, "I never want to read another poem by an Irish poet in which his grandfather enters or emerges from a shed." Grandfather's week. On Monday, grandfather visits a shed at least twice. He carries what looks like blackout curtains, a sizable chandelier, and a case of Bud Light. On Tuesday, he is a one-man stream of traffic. Into the shed go maps of all the oceans, a telescope, numerous buckets of black earth, and a crate of Guinness. On Wednesday, he tips 10 wheelbarrows of cut grass in a corner of the shed, fits in a small apple tree with fruit on the branches, and 6 bottles of fruity Australian red. Surely no room for more. But on Thursday, the shed roof creaks open like a convertible's to make room for huge replicas of sun and moon, and an array of cocktails with parasols. Imagine the chaos on Friday when he coaxes a garden full of wild beasts and creeping things into a shed that seems to expand invisibly when he clicks his fingers. So much dark rum, so much cider to pack on Saturday. He fetches a man and woman to complete the task and takes up residence in the shed. Their work finished, on Sunday they drink all day. We can't have the English interfering with our grandfathers in our sheds. This poem's called The Photograph, and I think in some ways it would serve as an introduction to my poems. It's rural, Catholic in background. The mother is a sort of central figure in the photograph and so on. It should be hung in the Folk Museum. McMahon's donkey and cart on the Irvinstown Road, my mother leading the donkey, her 4 children posed in the empty cart. Beside her, the lady from Kent who has stopped to be snapped with some Irish peasants. The donkey, no doubt, is a bonus. But she sent the photograph, and here we are in the 50s on a country road, going where and why I have long forgotten. How colonial we look, how self-conscious, except the donkey. I think every poet, if he or she is lucky, writes a poem that feels as though it was written by somebody else. You know, a poem, you finish it and you look and say, my God, where did that come from? And by the way, the Belfast poet, Michael Lumley, was asked that question in an interview. The interviewer said, where does poetry come from? And Lumley said, if I knew the answer to that, I'd go there. And this poem is called The Gate. There's a gate in the middle of the field. It leads into the middle of the field and out of it. We lean on the gate in the hedge that leads into the field and stare at the gate in the middle. Travellers point to the gate in the middle of the field. They approach and investigate. They invest the gate with mysterious purpose. They want to interrogate whoever put it there. They admire a gate that is gate-crashed in the middle of the field. Let all gates have such freedom, they think, bar none. We swing on the thought of a gate in the middle of a field where there is no business, long after the gate is gone. Remember that gate, we say, and at night in our dreams we head for the space in the middle. We pass and file through the space in the middle of the field and close, always reverently, the gate behind us. I wrote a number of poems which come out of my rural Catholic background. This one is called The Confession Box. In the chapel in my if the chapel in my hometown ever closes, I want to acquire the confession box to the left of the altar. Its walls seasoned with impure thoughts and actions, some of them mine. Its silent echo, the soft voice of the confessor. Did anything flow, my child? I'll throw open the doors and set fire to it in the middle of the field. Whether it burns for 2 hours or 2 days, it will become the sin TARDIS of the parish, past and future. Its ashes an end to guilt and an end to penance. Then I shall circle the remains, wondering which commandment I have just broken. Because the old Catholic guilt is extremely hard to shake off. I'm always on the lookout for people's reactions in that poem to the reference to the TARDIS. You did well, you did well. One of my favourite poetic forms is the haiku form, a little 17-syllable poem. You can say so much in such a short time. You can say so much by finding some resonant image that serves the poem. It's difficult to read haikus to an audience because they're so short. The poem is finished before you even started. So I'm going to read a number of them and just pause between them. And the sequence is called Small World. A field full of snow, so much a field full of snow, it needs a blackbird. Tonight in the smokeless zone, the drift of fresh turf smoke, a Christmas gift. Hares on the grass patch between the runways, ears flat, ready for takeoff. Sensing a haiku opportunity, those 2 blackbirds right on cue. On the yard wall, suddenly, a hooded crow, hard bastard, you can tell. Lost among your wet things on the kitchen floor, those 2 raindrop earrings. Kneeling, we fill 2 buckets to the brim. The well level does not change. How relaxed she is, that stray heifer, shitting her way through the graveyard. Missing the fish's jump, we have to make do with the splash and its ripples. Swept out as worthless, the curved, perfect shavings from the carpenter's bench. The streets are empty. Still I wait at the traffic lights for the green man. Mud from my father's grave. A whole week now, Father, since I cleaned my shoes. Breathe on the bus window, wipe it clear. The world as it is without you. It's a formula that it's quite very easy to parody as well, and there are some great parodies of haiku. The English poet Wendy Cook, for example, has a haiku which goes, "The cherry blossom in my neighbour's garden. Oh, it looks really nice." And the best one of all is by the performance poet John Cooper Clarke. His runs something like, To express your feelings in 17 syllables is very difficult. We'll read some parodies of it later on and finish off. This one is called The Hooper Swan, and it's for the poet Michael Longley, because it arose out of an occasion in a bar in Belfast where Longley set out to do an impersonation of a hooker swan. I don't know what the hell the other clients made of this, whether they thought it was some strange mating ritual or something. But anyway, the poet's poem, The Hooker Swan, arose out of that. When you croon your impression of a hooker swan at lunchtime sotto voce in Flanagan's bar, the notes are beyond language. You are living that sound by tidal shallows 100 miles away in a season part voiceless until the swan's return. A moment's silence. I imagine each dolorous yump as a bid for the true pitch, as though it defers to a lost memory of winter or the last death on an island. Yet, even in autumn, lifts a bronchial trump of resurrection. When dawn was a soundless birth and sunset mimed the idea of loss, the hooker happened in with a vowel to suit October in these parts. A tone that made somehow bearable the wind's insistence, its miserly null and void. Though earthbound, landlocked, I never lacked till now the gift of a coastal childhood, or missed a life edged with Atlantic. Sea self, sky self, land self, among the dunes in late autumn. Balance restored by the rich plint, the vibrant home of the hooper swan.